All right, welcome brewer friends. My name is Corey. I'm going to help you understand the ins and outs of Sanke kegs today. We have two different types of kegs. We have a retaining clip keg and we have a screw keg. In order to open these, disassemble them, put them back together, I'll show you the tools and how to do it and some of the steps and tips and tricks that I learned along the way. So we'll start over here with the clip-in keg. There's two types of tools that you're going to need. A pair of pliers and a little pick. Something this small with the curve is going to help because it'll really help you get into the retaining ring and pop that open. So on the retaining ring, you can tell there's this little round clip in here. This is actually pressing the spear in. What we'll do is remove this and the spear will pop right out. On the other hand, we have the screw-in keg. These are standard twists. They're threaded spears and they essentially screw in and out. To remove these, I find it's nice to have a wider pair of pliers so you can twist that out. But to dislodge it and start the process, you'll need a screwdriver and a hammer. And you can tell the difference between the two. If you look here, you don't see a retaining clip, but over here, you see a retaining clip. So that's how you tell the difference and which tools you're going to need. We're actually going to start with the twist top, which in my experience aren't really as common. Most commercial breweries are using the clips, but sometimes you'll order these and they'll come with the twist, and that's okay because they function the same way. It's just how we get them in and out is different. So to remove this, the first time it takes a little bit of effort, but once you use these a few times, it becomes easier. But you want to take your hammer and your screwdriver and righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. All we're going to do is give this a couple knocks to loosen it up just a little bit. You'll see it start moving. Once it's loose, I take my pliers, get them wedged in there, and just start unscrewing it. Once you unscrew it enough, you just keep it going. There's quite a bit of thread on this, so you just go for a second. But then, out comes the sphere. Super easy. To put this back in, it's really just that simple. We just put it back in and screw it all the way down. Take my pliers so I can give it a nice little lock. Once it's locked in there, then you could just take your hammer, screwdriver, give it a nice little wedge and tighten up one little extra twist, maybe just a fraction of an inch, fraction of a millimeter even, just to tighten it up. Then you're good to go. This one's a little bit more tricky. These retaining clips are sometimes a pain in the butt, but I figured out after many tries a very easy way to get this out. To get this out, what we want to do is find the clip that has this beveled edge right here. This is going to serve as our leverage to get our pick underneath. So what we want to do is take your pick. Even though I've done this a million times, it still takes a second. But once you get your pick underneath, then you just kind of close it around like that. You'll see I forgot to depressurize this one, which is a rookie mistake that I should have known better. So I'm actually going to put this back in here and depressurize so the spear doesn't come out and I don't get beer all over my face. That is an example of how not to do this. If you want, what I recommend is always depressurizing them. So I just take a decoupler that is topped off on the top. I just use a corny keg attachment to lock that up. Keeps the air from coming out. This is hooked up to CO2, but there's a check valve in there so we won't get any beer coming back out. Twist in. Release pressure. Alright, always give that a couple minutes. I give it an extra 3 or 4 count once it stops. Otherwise, if it's not fully depressurized, you'll get a bit of a beer spritz when you take the beer out. So come back, You get to see this a second time in case you didn't see it the first time. So we come in. This is the trickiest part, but once you're able to get your pick underneath, it goes really easy. So the clip comes out, and you can see it looks like just a little retaining ring. Both sides have the beveled edge. So when you put this back, it doesn't matter which way you put it back in. But I do recommend running this under hot water, star sanding it maybe, just to keep it from sticking next time you put it in. To remove the spear, it's real easy. It just locks in. You see the gaps, and then you just pull it. Simple enough. So normally what I'll do, this is a keg of some aged beer that I do not want. What I normally do is dump this, fill it with PBW, let it rest for about 30 minutes with a warm PBW, give it a good rinse, then I'll give it a once over with a star sand rinse. Just to keep it ready for the next time. Now, if these are already full, you've got some yeast or beer sediment sitting in there, you rinse it out with PBW, you star sand it, it's as clean as it's gonna get for the next round. But you can always put a flashlight in there just to make sure there isn't any grime in there. If there is, the wand brushes or the long brushes that you use for corning kegs work just as well here. So to put this retaining clip back in, it's pretty easy. What I like to do is make sure that this little bevel is aligned with one of the gaps or as close as I can get it. So we just press that into the little gap. You can see there's a little gap in here. You won't need your pick for this. So I put that in there and you just kind of start working it around. I do try to make sure that there's a little bit of separation, kind of like in a miniature slinky, so it gives a little bit of pressure when you're putting down, but you'll get to a point here where it no longer wants to go in. So then what we do is we take our pliers with a somewhat slightly downward angle, put it right on the lip and right on the clip, and you just start working your way around. You'll see it will just start falling in. You go all the way around until it's there. And I just like to make sure it's lined up nice and straight, and we're done. So a couple tricks about these that I've learned. Not all kegs are made the same. You can see that the spear on this one is higher than on this one, and possibly even on this one. If you look at the bottoms, they're different. So what that means is the spear in this one is probably longer than the spear in this one. So if you're cleaning 3 or 4 or 5 of these at a time, make sure you just keep your spears with the right kegs, because you don't want to put a short one in a long one, then go to put the long one in a short one, it doesn't fit. So that's one of the tricks that I've learned. The other thing that I've learned is when you're cleaning, if you're not going to fill them up right away, don't put the retaining ring back in. You can put the spear in, but leave the retaining ring out. It's one less step when you go to refill. And that's about it. I mean, it's pretty easy, about as easy as you're gonna get. I think they're easier than cornies. What I really like them is that all my friends have traditional kegerators. They have kegerators that have decouplers on them. So I make I make 3 kegs at a time normally. So I could drink all 3 if I really wanted to, but I like to hand them out to friends. So this makes it super easy for me to share, and I don't have to ask them to go out and get special equipment to start hooking up kegs and everything. But long story short, that's how we work with the different kegs. I will say that this is a Stella Rosa keg that I got from a bottle shop. I am returning it to them for another keg of IPA. So this one's not mine. I'm not going to mess with it, but just an example of the different types of kegs that we have out there. So thank you. Any questions, hit me up on Facebook or Corey at 7brewing.com, and I'll do what I can to help out. Thanks.